Hello, Dr. Noob here again. So today we have a very special tutorial. Why special? Well, this tutorial is based on the 300 subscribers that I had some weeks ago, and I made this video where everyone could vote which tutorial he wanted. And most of them voted for the AI brain. I was actually very surprised because More Mountains has already a very good tutorial about it, so I am not sure what I can add in here. So I tried to make some tricks and tips in here to maybe help you more than the other tutorials. Well, let me know in the comments if it helped more than the others. Anyhow, I will do two kind of AIs. The one will be dumb, so he will do just very basic stuff. The second one would be a little bit more sophisticated, a smart one, which has two phases. So like in Zelda, when you go to the end boss and you try to kill him, you hit him until he has, let's say, a third of blood or something like that, and then he changed the state, something like that. The second reason why this tutorial is so special for me is because I have a guest artist today. So he made the art for the Android as well as the background. That's Vidreview. My friend here does very cool pixel art. Look at these pictures in here. I wish I could do this stuff. And so he delivered the art and also the music that you will hear at the end of the video. So please look into my description, there are some links to his pages. Very cool guy. Very well, let's get started. So I have set up a scene as you see here, and we have our Android set up as a prefab, of course. So this guy, he's a Corgi Engine character, he has a rigid body as well as a collider, he has the Corgi controller, he has health, and he's bound to the level bounds. He can move horizontally and he can handle a weapon. In this case, that's the weapon, the shooter, which spawns by itself the bullets. Well, damage on touch, so if he touches the character or the player, better said, then he makes damages. And he's stompable, means if somebody jumps on him, then he loses a little bit of health. So first thing we do in here is I Control D that one, so that we are able to have the two different versions. So this is the Android Lite and Android Smart. So we will start with Android Lite. So how does our AI brain work? What you need to think is that the AI brain works in states. So we have 3 states, and you can have in each one of them 0 to more actions. So first state is he will do nothing, which means he just stands there and waits. Then another state would be walk. It means in this state he will move towards the target. Towards? Oh, please correct me in the comments. And the next state would be shoot. So, surprise, he will shoot in that state. Now, when the AI brain starts, then he goes to the first state that you have defined. In our case, our state idle is our first state, which means he will be there and he will do nothing. So how can he go from state idle to state walk? There is a simple solution. It's called AI decisions. Those are in the transitions part of the AI brain, which means you define a AI decision. In our case, it would be detect the target within a radius. If he detects our player within the radius, then he can go to the next state. If not, he stays on the same. I have here that a yes in green and a no in red, which means, is he detecting something? No, so he stays red until he finds something, and then he goes to the next state, which is walking, and then he starts moving towards the target. In the walk state, there is another decision we want to make, and that's the decision time, which means he will wait for 2 seconds. He will ask the whole time, are the 2 seconds done? Yes or no, yes or no. And depending on that, if yes, the 2 seconds are done, then he will go to a shoot state, which means from then on he will be shooting. If not, if you are within this 2 seconds, then he will stay in the same state. On our third state, I thought it would be a nice idea to take the same decision of detecting the radius, but this time I'm saying no. So which means is he will still check if the target of our player is within the radius. If he's within the radius, then he shoots and shoots and shoots until he's not in the radius anymore. If he's not in the radius, then he goes back to idle, which means he will do nothing. That's our first logic. So let's do that. First of all, what we need to do is to open our Android Lite prefab, and within here we add a component which is called AI Brain. Perfect. So, and then we said we will have 2 different AI decisions and 3 different actions. I will start with the AI actions. And look at that. You start to type AI and then action, and then you see all the different actions that you could use for your logic. I decided first in the idle state to do nothing. Then I said I want to move towards target. Next time I say fly just because I cannot pronounce towards. And the next thing was shooting. AI action shoot. So here we have the actions. And now the decisions are AI decisions, and then you see what kind of decisions you can do to move from one state to another. We said that we want to have time in state, and we said we want an AI decision if the target detect target radius. So let's I said 2 seconds, I guess that's okay, and the AI decisions, the radius is 3, which if you see in here is not enough. I will put 10. Okay, so next thing to do is to create our different states. So we said we have state idle, then we have state walk, and we have state shoot. Perfect. So in here you see we have the actions. As I already mentioned, you are able to do more than one action. So I will add an action in each one of them, and we'll move the actions to it. So in idle he does nothing. Actually, if you would just pick none, it would be the same, but it's not as pretty as moving that here around. But again, you can have also no action at all. So here in idle we will do nothing. In walk we will move towards the target. Man, I hate that word. And then on the shoot, we will have the shooting action. Good. Now we have the transitions from one state to another, which we said we will have here an AI decision and see if we have someone within the radius. Well, not someone, our player. And here you see what happens if it's in a true state or in a false state. So in the true state, then he will go to walk. In the case of false, we leave that open, so he will stay in that state. On the walk, we have almost the same, but this time with the time. So he will be walking for 2 seconds, and what happens if the 2 seconds are done? Then he will start shooting, which means he goes to the next state, which is shoot, and if not, he will stay in the same state. The state shoot has again a decision, which is the same as the detect radius, but this time we will not go through the true state, we go through the false state. So if it's false, then he goes back to idle. Okay, let's save that and try that out. So I have moved our Android light into the scene, and let's start. 69 aspect, yeah, that should be okay. So I like to have always in here the scene so that I can, let's say, you see in here the radius. So I like to have that in here so that I can see how he's behaving. So you see, he's doing nothing. And you can go back down here in the AI brain and see in here for the debug, you can see in which state he is. So he's in idle. That's correct, because we are not within the radius. So if we move now in here, you see, oh, he's now walking, and he, have you seen that? He shoots very slightly for a short time, and then he goes back to idle. So let's do that again. So he walks for 2 seconds, and if I stay in here, then he will shoot the whole time until I'm out of his radar. Perfect. That's an easy AI brain. Okay, for the second Android, the smart one, I wanted to show you something. I will do a little bit of a bad example now. So what I wanted to do is that there is a 2 state of this character. So you see that in a lot of games where you start to fight against the boss, and let's say in the middle of the fight he changes then and gets more aggressive or quicker or stuff like that. So for that I thought I will use 2 AI brains. Oops, not Brian, mein Gott. So here we have the AI brain, and I could use another AI brain. And in one of those decisions, we can have the AI decision. Let's say when the health is down, then let's say when the health value is at least 5, then he should AI action swap brain. But now we still need the move towards target, we need the shoot, we need the do nothing, and we also need the decision. What was it? Sorry, decision. If it's in the radius, maybe. Let's see what we want. Oh yes, if he gets hit, then he should do something and time in state. Now you see it just gets very confusing. And if you need to handle all those like character handle weapon and you have all those in there and you need to put that in two brains which have different states, it's just too much, my friends. It's very, you will see it gets very quickly very confusing to handle. So I thought I will tell you a small way or a small trick how to do that better. So the best way to do such a complicated scenario is if you create in here an empty game object and you give him two different brains. Maybe, just maybe, you should name it better, something like brain follow and brain end phase or something like that. But I'm lazy and just put brain 1 and brain 2 in here. So what do I want to do? I would like that wherever I place this guy here, he should patrol within some bounds. If my player is detected by him, then he should start following him. If after 2 seconds he's not in his sight anymore, then he should go back and patrol here again. And I'm able to jump on him and make some damage. And if I have, let's say, made 50% of damage of his whole health, then he should start with the second brain, which would be more aggressive. So let's do first the first part. So brain 1, we add in here all the intelligence of the first brain. So we have 3 states in here, which is patrol, then we have follow, and we have change brain. So for the patrol we need the IA action patrol within bounds. Then for the follow we need the move towards target and we need a change brain. Oh, AI action swap brain it's called. Perfect. Then for the decisions we need an AI decision for detecting the player within a certain radius, which definitely will be 10. I want the time in state and I want to have the health. Very well. Now that we have that, we add the actions to it. So he should patrol within bounds. And you know what? Now that we are here, we can set up the left and right bounds. So let's say he goes within these small bounds. That's okay, based on origin position, which I think makes sense in here. So that's it. Then under follow, then he should move. I will not pronounce that again wrong. And change brain would be he should swap the brain. Good. Now the actions are defined. The next thing to do is to define the transitions. So if we see him within the radius, then he should start to follow. So he goes to the state follow. In follow there will be the time in state, which is at the moment 2 seconds. I think that's okay for me. So if that happens, then he should go back to patrol. Yes, and now I want also to go to this change brain state. So in here I need to add another decision making slot, which is the IA decision health. So in here I tell him that if it's true, let's say here health value should be 5 because the health of this player, of this character is 10. And so when it's in the middle, then he should go into this change brain here. So it's not patrol, it's change brain. Okay. So again, the good thing about it, if you have this two windows beneath each other, you can go in here to the Android Smart, and you can, in there on the brain 1, you can see what he's doing. At the moment he's patrolling, so I go in there and then he should see me, and yes, he's starting to follow and goes back to patrol. And if I start to hit him, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, then he went to the state change brain. But we have not defined here the change brain, so let's do that. To do that, we go to our our enemy again, our under it, and we define the second brain. So the AI brain. What do I want to do with it? And now I would like that he starts to follow you, doesn't stop with it, and each time that you hit him, then he should start to shoot. Yeah, that's it. Let's do that. So we have state follow, and we have state shoot. So the actions are definitely the patrol, the move. I will not butcher it again. And should happen. So when should he start to follow? Well, he should start to follow from the beginning and change the state to shoot if he has been hit. Where is it? Here. And he should shoot, well, also in a time frame. So back and back here to our actions. So move there and shoot here. Then if he has been hit, then he should start to shoot. And the shoot, that should be a time in state. But this time I want to have a random number, something like between 2 and 4 seconds. It's maybe too much, I don't know. Maybe 2.5, 3.5. Yeah, something in between, a little bit randomness in here. So, well, if he gets hit, he starts to shoot, and when that's done, back to follow. Good, let's test that. Now, before we test that, I forgot one small thing. remember in brain 1 where we have the swap brain, and in here between the IA action swap brain we don't have any brain, and here is where you can drag and drop the second brain in here. Okay, then it starts to test, and you will see it will not work, but I want you to see it that it will not work. So let's go here to our brain 1. So we are in controlling state. Very well. We give him 1, we give him 2, and we give him 3, and 4, and 5. And then he doesn't do anything. We have here change brain, and here under brain 2 there is shoot, but something it's not really working, as you see. So what is happening? Let me explain that to you. The problem now is that you have within here your regular Android smart guy, you don't have defined him which brain he should use. There are two things you can do for sure, and this is deactivate this brain so that only this brain is activated. The second one that you can do is you go in here under your character and you see there is the AI brain and there is none. So he doesn't know which brain he should take. So drag and drop the first brain because this is the brain where you start with. Let's save that and let's try that again. So second test, and sadly it will not work either. I will show you why. So when you go in here and you give him a little bit of love, and love hurts, then you see nothing happens. He switched the brain. You see in here, this is not activated anymore. The second brain is in here. And he just doesn't know what to do. And you cannot see what the issue is. And he's even in the state follow, but nothing happens. And you see he's since 25 seconds in there. And if I hit him, oh man, how can I lose against a not moving target? So when you go and hit him, you will see that you see now the error. So there is no target defined. Okay, so the issue is he doesn't have a target. The moment he swaps the brain, the target has been resetted. So what you need to do in here is when you go to the prefab, to the smart here, and to brain number 2, you can not only have this action, which is follow, you should also add AI action set player as target. So now we have here 2 actions, and this one would be set him as target. Okay, let's test that. So let's go and hit him once, twice. Ooh, come on. Incredible. So now he swapped the brain, and you see he follows me wherever I go, and he has no radius anymore. And if I hit him, then he starts to shoot somewhere between 2.5 and 3.5 seconds. Oh, this was a little bit longer. Oh, man. But you see, it works. So, thank you very much, and I let you enjoy a little bit of my body's art and music. See you next time. Cheers!